Alright, I've tried testing the focus on this camera like 20 times at this point, and I'm just super frustrated with it, and I just don't care because I have these giant lights in front of me. I can't really see, so I'm just going to film this story time and finally just let it all out, talk about it, sort of like release it. So I've kind of just like hinted at it a few times, and I've never like fully gotten to like discuss it. And I understand that there are people that have gone through far worse experiences at concerts, and I'm not trying to do this as like a pity story or try to do this as a, well, I'm the victim. I mean, I am the victim of what happened to me at this show, but I just want to share the story to spread awareness and to kind of talk about why I'm thankful that there isn't a pits for my Logic dates. And discuss why, you know, sometimes it's okay to not have pit at certain shows. And I'm not saying this is Logic's fault at all. I'm not saying this is Bobby's fault at all. I'm not saying that this is like his crowd and his demographic or anything like that. Okay, so the show I'm actually going to be talking about is the first time that I saw Bobby. I was so excited for this day, and that was for the Everybody's Tour. I did have VIP. I did a story time on my VIP experience. I'll link that up above if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. In that video, I purely discussed like the VIP benefits and like how, what I experienced getting the VIP, was it worth it, that sort of thing. And I also did a vlog from the concert, kind of, but again, I didn't really talk about this topic at all. But if you guys want to see some clips and stuff, like some cute little things, I'll go ahead and link that up above as well if you're interested. So this is for my Everybody's Tour, and this kind of has an important part in it, but not really. I mean, at shows you're gonna have assholes no matter what. You're gonna have people that think that they're the pinnacle of the audience, that think that they're on top of the world and they deserve the best of the best. Brandon and I, when we did the VIP part of the show, we were barricade. And then when the actual part of the show happened, it was not as organized as the Bobby Tarantino show. We did not get VIP. There was no VIP for that tour, but it was a lot more organized and handled a lot more professional, in my opinion, than the Everybody show. And I don't know if that was on behalf of like Bobby and his team, like, you know, trying to be more in control of the audience, realizing that he was performing at bigger venues, there was bigger audiences than he's ever had before, or if it was just the blessed, like how we were blessed to be at a different venue and have the venue staff like take control of everything. I had a perfectly amazing experience at the Bobby Tarantino versus Everybody show, but I was 100% a little on edge, a little nervous, and a little uncomfortable from my first time seeing Bobby. I was so excited for this show because I had been a fan of him since I was a freshman. I never had the ability to see him before because most of the time it was pit only. It was smaller venues. Sometimes it was 18 plus, and at that time I was not 18. And I didn't want to have to bring my mom with me because my mom is not necessarily a huge fan of rap. And she also can't stand for long periods of time because she broke her ankle. So, and I didn't really have any friends that were interested in him or anything at all. He was kind of like my little secret. Nobody really cared when I talked about him. So I didn't really have anybody else to go with me. So I always just kind of put it on the back burner, like seeing Bobby would happen when it would happen. And that was now. I had Brandon to go with me and to enjoy the show with me and also enjoy his music and share the experience with me, and I was really blessed and thankful that, you know, it all just happened to work out this way. I had made my 1-800 reaction. I gotten a lot of positive feedback from that. I gotten a lot more Rat Pack interaction. I made a lot of new friends, gotten a lot of support, and everything was just like on cloud nine because I was finally talking about him and sharing him on my YouTube channel. It's something that I never really did, even though there was a lot of controversy and I had that whole 1-800 fan phase that I got bombarded with. It was all good. So I was also nervous for the show because I felt that if at any show I would be recognized or like noticed by like anybody. Even if it was only one person, it was going to be the show, because I had gotten the most traction, the most views, and the most interaction from my videos on Bobby. So I was nervous as hell for the show, because I was like, oh my god, somebody's gonna come up to me and they're gonna talk to me, and I don't know if they're going to like call me a fake fan or if they're gonna actually be like cool with me, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? We did the VIP experience, it all went well. We had barricade, it was great. We waited inside the venue to be let back into the pits, and once that happened, we got second row. We were like second row from the barricade. Perfect view. I was familiar with everybody around me. Everybody was really chill. Everybody was super nice. Then the crowd started to roll in, and we got more people like coming behind us, because this was a really small VIP. There was maybe 50 people at this VIP. It was super, super small. So then the crowd started rolling. The people behind us were really cool, really just some chill dudes. And they just were minding their own business the entire time, not bothering anybody. The best type of people at a show, honestly. And the show started. So we went through the opening acts. That was completely fine, of course, because, you know, you go to concerts and not everybody's necessarily there for the opening acts. Not everybody necessarily knows the opening acts. They're there for the main person. Logic. Then Bobby comes on stage. Everything was fine for a few songs. I think 3 or 4 songs maybe. And then all of a sudden I start hearing people behind me like complaining and yelling. And they're like, yo, what the hell? And what the F? And dude, what are you doing? And like yelling and like kind of like whatever, but it's not like a group of people at once. It's just like one person here and then one person there, and I'm like, what's going on? So I turn around and I see these 2 girls, and they are coming from the very back of the pit all the way to the front. So they're just like pushing their way through these people. And you know, when you go to a show and you get pit, you are always at risk of having assholes like this. Just the people that think that they deserve to be at the front, no matter how much you paid in comparison to them to be at the front, and no matter what time you arrived and started waiting in line. So these girls just happened to want to get up to the front, and of course they wanted to get up to the front where I was. You know, you have this whole line of people, this whole big crowd. They could have went to the middle, they could have went to the right, but no, they just happened to bless me with their presence and come right directly to me. So these 2 girls come up, and they are both on something. The one girl is nearly completely wasted. She's inaudible, she's hitting people, it made me so uncomfortable, like I wanted to throw up. And talking about it is making me so upset. This girl smelled like something mixed with alcohol, and she was like uncontrollable. She was shoving, and I felt so bad for the people that had barricade, because she literally was like hands-on, like jumping, groping, shoving the girl that was standing right in front of her for the rest of the show. I felt so bad for that girl. I don't know how she held it up and just stayed where she was. If I was her, I would have given up my barricade. I would have let that girl have it just so she would get off of me. She was literally like towering over this girl. Her body was rubbing on her. She was just acting all crazy, and her friend was a little more sane, I guess, in the sense that she could formate sentences enough to, there was this group of shorter girls. They were adults, they were drinking beer, but they were just shorter than me. And there was 3 of them, and I think they were siblings or something, and they were right next to me, and this girl shoved through them. So the one girl was asking her like, hey, what are you doing? Like, we were standing here, can you go that way and try to sneak in or something? Like, why are you over here? Because honestly, if these girls wanted to get to the front, they should have went in the center stage, because the center stage was people jumping around, having a good time, not really caring about anything around them. They would have easily been able to get barricade there. So these girls were asking her like, hey, what are you doing? We were standing here. Watch out, you're like hitting people, like what's going on? And she's not talking to them because she's just staring. She's like a bug going to a light at night. And she's just staring at Bobby, and she looks like she's trying to sing along, but she doesn't know the words. She doesn't know what she's saying. She just wants that barricade. And these girls were like upset and trying to talk to her about it. So then her friend decides to start threatening, yelling. I was like, what are you doing? Like, seriously? She's like, you need to stop talking to her. You need to stop accusing her of doing things. You need to stop hurting her. They weren't touching her. They were being completely, you know, just somebody that's irritated, but they were being respectful about it. And she gets in the face of this one girl, like she's starting to point her finger. She's like towering over them because this girl was tall. And she's like slapping her hands and she's like, you need to stop or I'm gonna punch you in the throat. You need to knock it off. You need to leave. You need to move. Swearing, threatening all harm possible. And I feel bad because they literally were doing nothing wrong. These girls were the problem. Because before the show, I watched a lot of videos of Logic performing live. I wanted to get really invested in this, whatever. I had seen him calling out the people for being fuckboys. I had seen him calling out the people for throwing the water bottles. I had seen him, you know, kicking people out for starting fights and stuff. So my instinct was to start waving at him to try and get his attention. And I'm not blaming this on Bobby at all. You know, he's a performer. He was doing what he was there to do. He literally, I could have looked like I was dancing. I don't know what I looked like to him. So I'm flailing my arms, I'm yelling, I'm like, hey, over here, help. And these guys behind me, they're acting so chill, they're like pointing at me and stuff. And I'm like, you know, trying to get somebody's attention. The security guard is looking at me and laughing at me. He's laughing at me. So I don't know if he thought that I was just trying to get their attention so that way like I could go on stage or something, but he's looking at me and he's just laughing at me. So I'm automatically pissed off at that. So they were singing the song America, so everybody was on stage with Bobby and they were singing along and everything. Big Lembo was primarily on our side of the stage, so I'm trying to get his attention. He's made eye contact with me a few times, but I don't knew what was happening, obviously. So I'm like yelling, I'm jumping, I'm trying to get somebody's attention because this girl, I'm afraid, is going to punch, kick, or, you know, whatever, this group of girls. And she's like in their face. Everybody's kind of spreading back from them, like it's about to be like a mosh pit or something. So I'm just like, you know, in it trying to like save these girls while this other girl is like riding on this girl still trying to get barricade. I'm like running out of breath because I'm just getting like so heated over this. So then the girl that was yelling at them decides to start yelling at me. Well, not at me, but she pulls Brandon, who is standing like by me but semi behind me. She decides to pull him close to her. And she goes, hey, I just want to let you know that if your girlfriend here keeps trying to get security, I'm gonna have to punch her in the head. And she said it so blunt, like I felt all of it like just fall from my face. I'm like, oh my god, this girl literally just threatened to beat the crap out of me when I'm just trying to help this group of girls because she's being the problem. So Brandon's like, all right, and he starts to push me to the side so he can stand in between us, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that because I don't want you fighting her. So we just scoot over and he stands directly behind me and on the other side of me to like block me from her. And so then I'm trying to get security's attention again. He's not laughing this time, but he's just like kind of staring at me like, what the hell does this girl want? So the girl, again, says that she's gonna beat me up if I keep trying to get security, that I have no right to get security, and that I'm crazy and all this stuff. So I'm like, all right, I give up. I give up. And I felt like complete and utter crap because I wasn't able to help this group of girls that she was harassing for like another 20 minutes at this concert, mind you. She's still yelling at them. She's still trying to like get her friend barricade. She's yelling at the people that her friend is like all over, telling them to move, let her through, whatever. Then Bobby gives this little like speech about how don't let other people around you ruin your experience here. This is for you. Don't pay them any mind. Don't give them any attention. Let it go. Just forget about it. Let's have a good time. So then I'm like, wait, did he see what was going on here? And then I was like, but nothing's getting done. And then I was like, wow, maybe I'm the shitty person because, you know, I'm trying to save these people and I'm putting myself in that situation. I was like, all right, I just gotta forget about it, you know, I just gotta let it go. I gave up my spot to move over. I had this girl in front of me that had this little teeny tiny like backpack thing, and it literally was digging like into my chest the entire show because we just started to get pushed up by everybody. And I was so uncomfortable. I felt like I was gonna throw up because like this purse was just like hard and it was just hitting me in the chest, and then she would jump. The girl is up front still like all over these girls trying to get barricade, whatever. And the other girl just sort of stands there and she's just standing there with her arms crossed like a bodyguard. The end of the concert happens and the girl's like, I'm bored, I want to get another beer, let's go get a beer. So they both left the pit, thank God. But it was for gang related, so it was the end of the show. We had one song left, and they finally left. Then, the show ended. And when the show ended, the crowd let out, whatever. And then the girl that was getting, like, rubbed up on the entire show turns around and she's like, what the F was that? What was that girl's problem? What was she on? You know, yelling. And then the three girls start talking to her, and they're talking back and forth about, like, the problem that they had and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And they both look at, like, all four of them kind of look at me like, why am I talking? And I was like, I'm so sorry that that happened to you. She started threatening me when I tried to get security, so, like, I had to stop because I just didn't want her to hit me. I'm so sorry. And the one girl said, like, yeah, or something. And then they just started talking to each other again. So then I was like, wow. Why did I waste my time? So I just turn around and Brandon and I leave, and it's kind of just like quiet on the way home. Remember, I sent out a few tweets about these girls trying to fight me and like causing a huge scene. And I remember I posted my Instagram side story. A girl tried to fight me when I was requesting security because she shoved her way up to the front and began threatening a 4'1" girl very vulgarly. So she decided to threaten me via telling Brandon, which wasn't a good idea. But I controlled him and just let it slide and not ruin my night. But my gut wishes I did stick up for the girl more and myself since I was being shoved, stepped on, and pushed to the side by her friend who seemed to be under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Very thankful Brandon didn't hesitate to protect me and back me up, but I didn't want him to get physical, so I did control him. I've had people shoved to the front at shows before. That's not, like, a huge deal. Like, it annoys me, but it's not enough for me to, like, ruin my experience. But for this girl to like threaten me was just a whole nother level because I'd never been threatened at any concert in my entire life. And I know that this is like nothing compared to people who actually physically get hurt or actually get like shoved or kicked out of a show for defending themselves, or people who, you know, have worse things happen to them. I'm not comparing myself to those people. I'm just saying that this is the worst thing that's personally happened to me, and it bothers me. And I'm not blaming Bobby at all for not noticing or doing anything. I'm more so mad that security didn't do crap. I'm sharing this story because I've seen a lot of people complaining and being upset that there's no pit at certain shows on his upcoming tour. And I just want to put it in a perspective as somebody who has been harassed at one of his shows, that this is something that I am so blessed and excited for, at least at my shows. There are some shows that do a pit, but I'm so blessed and excited that there isn't a pit because I don't want the possibility of this happening again, and I don't want it to ruin my experience, especially since I bought the VIP and spent so much money. Like, just imagine if one person would ruin me spending that much money. So I'm happy that there's seats. I'm happy that it's organized at my shows. I'm happy that I know where I'm sitting, where I'm gonna be. I don't have to stress about that. I just want to put that in perspective for some people that are kind of upset that there isn't pit at every single show, that you gotta think that some people are really thankful that there isn't because of things that have happened to them at past shows. So this is literally, aside from, I made a story time about my worst concert experience ever, and that was just like in general, like the whole experience. But this is literally like the worst like interaction I've ever had at a concert, and I don't think I'm ever gonna forget it anytime soon because I still think about it like heavily in detail. I even found this girl's Instagram because she tagged the Everybody's Tour like in the little location thingy on Instagram. And I just remember like wanting to comment on that photo so bad, but I was like, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. So I just like stared at the photo for a really long time. I have their faces memorized. I could describe them adamantly to you what they look like, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing this to harass them. They're probably never gonna see this video. They probably don't even recognize me at this point because I look so different. But I was just, it's something that happened. It's something that like traumatized me. I can't listen to Young Jesus anymore either because it's got Big Lembo in it, and I just can't listen to any song that they're in together because it just makes me think about that exact moment when that girl said she was gonna punch me in the head. And it scares me. It scares me. And it upsets me, and it happened. There's nothing I can do about it now except share my story, share the awareness that this stuff can happen at shows. You need to be prepared. And I still go to concerts, I still get pit, I still go and have the time of my life. It's never happened to me again, thank the Lord, but I know that it can, and it scares me that one day maybe it will happen again, and maybe one day they will actually hurt me. But until then, I'm gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna keep going to shows. I'm gonna keep having the time of my life and try not to let people ruin the experience for me. So I don't really remember much about the Logic show, unfortunately, aside from those girls. I remember the gang related, and I remember the VIP like intimately and like closely because those are things that happened when those girls were not there. So yeah. Concert season is coming up. Please be safe. Please be aware of your surroundings. Befriend the people around you. Please just be your best self possible. You know, don't make it all about you, and also don't let other people ruin your experience. Just go there to have fun, make friends, and just stay alert and be safe. I love you guys. I'll see you again very, very soon. I hope this video helps somebody.